and wear normal stuff.
I guess you're right. So true.
What? Jeep.
Guess where are you buying it?
Really? I already did.
Who's
Oh,
Dan?
I'm not technically. Are you
Dan?
Ronnie?
I am.
Nice to meet you.
What's
Thank
going
you,
on, buddy?
sir.
You all right? No
I
problem.
figured I had to wear the proper Jeep
Yeah,
Wrangler.
you look like
Rubicon.
you're
Are
ready to go, bro.
All right, you gonna come with me? Drew, you're coming, right?
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah, come on in.
Hey, when you guys come back, just pull up in one of them parking spots. I'll see y'all coming, right?
Great, thank you. Hey, where are the lights on this, really quick?
Be on the left-hand side there.
Are they on the stalk? Yep, got them.
Got 'em?
Awesome, thank
All
you.
right, guys.
You hold this. Okay, so this car's cool because it has. You're still filming, Taylor?
Yep.
So this car is really cool because it has a couple features that make it better and more like off-road capable than most Jeep Wranglers. And I'm gonna drive now. Okay, so I'm just gonna spin it. Drew, I'll have you take a spin after me. And if everything checks out, then we'll take it home. Thank you for filming, Taylor. I'm glad you
problem.
came because I kind of want Drew to drive it.
Yeah.
And can I just throw this by your plate? And yeah, so I'm gonna slide my chair back a little bit.
Rides like a Jeep.
Dude, fuck yeah, it does. So what I'm looking for here is, I'm kind of live tweeting, right, or like live streaming this kind of thing, Taylor.
Okay.
But what I'm looking for is just brake feel, pedal feel. It's super squishy, which is expected for a Rubicon. Drew's gonna be looking for slightly different things because he has a different engineering specialty than me. My expertise is in brake control. So I'm gonna be interested in this locking diff and making sure that it works, which is gonna be a little bit of a specialized test. But obviously Ronnie's aware of what makes this car special, and this trim level special, so he doesn't give a fuck. And frankly, he shouldn't, because these cars are built for insane driving, both on-road and off-road. So I'm basically just gonna spin it back to the dealership now, and I'm gonna have Drew drive, and then we're gonna walk through the differential stuff. Does that work for you, Drew?
Sure thing.
Cool. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah.
Taylor, thank you again for coming out too. Donnie, thanks for taking my car home. Yeah, so super cool. You can just keep the film running, Taylor. I'll edit it out later.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna spin back. We're just gonna swap drivers really quick. We're just gonna put it back in the garage for a second and just do a quick once-over to make sure there's no obvious rust. If there is, I'd still buy it, but I would probably just ask for a couple $100 in cash to get it fixed, or to have them fix it at some point. So Drew, I'm about to hand this off to you. Let's go here, and then we'll play with the diff settings when we get to that point. Cool.
Sure thing.
All right, let's flip. Don, you can stay there. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I want to be the front. Thank you for filming, Taylor. And Drew Pyle.
Hi, Donnie.
Hello. Nice to meet you, Taylor.
Don, have you met Taylor and Drew?
No.
Drew's one of my oldest, closest high school friends.
What's up, Drew?
And he also worked with me at GM. And he's he's not a performance driver. He is a professional driver, though. We're actually both professional drivers.
Yeah, right.
And no, but we are. I mean, whether or not it feels like we are, we actually are by definition professional drivers. And at the same time, I'm actually like 6 months away from being a professional race car driver, because I'm gonna get my level 5 certs in Milford, which gives me access to all the cool tracks, the fun stuff. I'll be able to race Corvettes as part of my day-to-day work, which is kind of exciting. So yeah, I'm just gonna play around with the diff lock, which is down here. I know, it's dark. But yeah, Drew's doing a little bit of testing here. He's just making sure that the sway bar works. He's making sure that the balance of the car is correct, making sure it doesn't pull to one direction. Basic checkout stuff you should always do when you buy a used car. There's a lot of people who will tell you a lot of different things about what to look for when you buy a used car. And frankly, it depends on who the buyer is. In the case of a car like this, it's really, really up to the user. In my case, I'm gonna be tearing this car apart for the next couple of years. Driving it super hard, doing a lot of crazy stuff with it, probably filming a lot of it, frankly. Donnie will be in a lot of these videos. I imagine that his my friends and his friends will also be in some of these videos. We might even get a surprise Drew and Taylor appearance here and there during some off-roading stuff. But I think this car actually has stock wheels on it. Do you know that, Drew?
It looked like it did.
Okay, so the stock wheels on the Rubicon are like 33-inch, giant, awesome, like big wheels made for off-roading. This whole car, like, obviously is made for only off-roading. Like I mentioned earlier, it has a different reduction gear than the most Jeep Wranglers, and it's also only a 4-speed automatic. Can you find snow? There is a cop right there, so let's not do it here. But dude, honestly, at this point, I wouldn't even care. He wouldn't care either. But we should do it somewhere where there's not a cop. And we're just gonna play with the diff a little bit, probably in grass, if we can find some without a cop right next to us. But we're just gonna make sure that these diffs lock properly. And the best way to check that is to find yourself some surfaces that are pretty shitty. And frankly, just engage and lock and unlock the diff and make sure that the wheels do what they should. I can talk about the specifics, but I'm actually probably just gonna link something like from Wikipedia so that people can understand what I'm talking about if you're not like somebody who's privy to these kind of things already. So maybe just turn right up in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I was gonna try.
We don't necessarily, I don't really care. I know these diffs work. Frankly, I trust Ronnie. He seems like a good dude. And, you know, he was able to put this deal together in like 18 hours, right? Well, maybe 24 hours. So it's a good sign. This car wasn't like really cheap. I actually negotiated it down from what Carfax or what Auto Trader deemed a fair price to a good price. And frankly, with a Rubicon, you don't want to get the cheapest one because a Rubicon being cheap indicates that it was torn up pretty bad, or that it like has a bunch of work done to it, or something that you basically don't want to mess with when you're talking about an off-road vehicle, which is what this is. Nice. So we're hitting some bumps. This car obviously handles them super well. I think, Drew, you've probably driven a Rubicon before, right?
I've driven brother-in-law's actually.
Okay, yeah, so Drew's brother-in-law has a Rubicon. Is that Jackie's brother or Jackie's husband?
No, it's actually Taylor's sister's husband.
Oh, sorry, I'm an idiot. Yeah. And would that still be your brother-in-law?
Or yeah, brother-in-law.
Okay, yeah, sure enough. So, Taylor, your sister's husband has a Rubicon, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what year it is?
I think it was a 10 as well.
Okay, so the 10 is the one I was looking for because if you were to get a 12, they did some changes to the transmission's different, and frankly, it's way more expensive to get a 12 because of that change to the transmission. I think the engine configuration actually stayed the same, but because the transmission changed, the car became much better on highway because it went from a 4-speed to a 6-speed automatic, and those prices are $5,000 to $6,000 higher even for the same mileage. They will hold their value better, but frankly, I'm thinking about doing a transmission swap on this car with Drew, probably in his garage, and I would put an 8-speed in, and I would probably just write from scratch some transmission control software because I can do that, and that would be super cool. I think it'd be fun to play with. I've actually never written transmission control software from scratch before, but I feel pretty confident that I could do it with the tools and the experience that I have. So with that, I'm just going to kind of leave some dead air here. Taylor, you can keep the film rolling. But once we get to the diff work, we will we'll play with it. I don't know, Drew, are you actually looking for somewhere to test it, or do you not care? Yeah, dude, honestly, I don't care.
But
Let's just take it back. We're here. Yeah, and honestly, like, who cares? If it doesn't work, I'm just gonna go call what's his name, but it'll work.
I mean, do you want to make sure it just engages and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, let's make sure it engages. So we can do that right here.
Yeah.
All we're looking for is this button here, axle lock. Should do something, and then over here we're going to engage 4-wheel drive.
Do you have to be?
So that's rear, and that's front, and I can do both. I can do both or either, right? That's how it works. So right now rear is active. I think you have to be going to make it engage. So let's go back on the road a little bit.
Roll.
I think you have to be going over like 2 or 3 miles an hour, although I don't actually know. Frankly, I'm not worried about it. There it is. So that diff is locked. Do you feel how we're bumping like that? That tells us the differential's locked, and that's the rear. Now the same thing with the front. It's going to be harder to engage the front, or to get the front to, there it is. So there's the front, and if we do both, oops, sorry, Drew. So right now it's off, and I'm going to engage both. There we go. Oh, hold on. That's just rear. There's both. Okay. So go ahead and just do the same turn. Yeah. So you can feel both axles are locked up, which is why we're bouncing around so much. And now I just disengaged, and you can feel that shakiness goes away. I actually don't know how to turn it off. I'll figure it out. There it is, off. So there's traction control, which is, I don't really care about testing. I'm just gonna go to 4-wheel drive, and we're gonna make sure that works too, Drew.
Okay.
So right now we're in 2 high. I'm just gonna go to 4 high. Okay, so go ahead and do the same thing. I just wanna see the car behave slightly differently. Oh, the diff lock is still on. I don't actually know how to turn off the diff lock. Can you tell how this works, Drew?
So that's one. Both.
1.
Oh, it's just up, I think.
Oh,
It's
got it.
like an up-down.
Okay, cool. It's an up down. Okay, that makes sense. So you have a Buick about to back into us. Hopefully he doesn't. There we go. Very good. Glad you caught that, Taylor. Yeah, so we're just gonna go to 4-wheel drive and make sure it works. And assuming it does, we're gonna go back to the garage. Ronnie's gonna check me out. I'm gonna hand him a check for $20,400, and that'll be the extent of this video, pretty much. And then I'm gonna drive it home and watch Michigan basketball. And I think Drew's probably gonna watch Michigan basketball too. He'll make it in time. I probably won't make it for tip. Actually, you know what? You won't make it for tip, Drew. Sorry.
I can already tell.
You can feel. Okay, we're in 4.
Drive, but I don't know.
It's fine. All right, so 4-wheel drive works. We're gonna get out of here. I want to get back home. Frankly, I want to show my friends, and let's get out of here. Yeah. So obviously, you can feel that this car is designed.
Want me to take it back to the garage?
Yeah, please. I just want to throw it under the lights really quick. I should be back in 2. Although I think you have to go fast enough to get it out of 2.
Yeah,
out of 4.
unlock.
Yeah, but that's fine, dude. Honestly, this car's built for this, Drew. We're not gonna hurt it.
I know. I just don't want to hit your own
Yeah,
car.
so basically, Don, that's kind of all the features of this car, and why I like it.
I said park it back up front.
Yeah, but we should just go to the garage. They'll open it back up for us. I just want to do a quick spot check for rust, and then shake Ronnie's hand and get out of here. Get out of his head, or get out of his face, because I know that he is probably trying to go home. We don't even need to go in the garage, actually.
Who's light?
You know where you're looking for rust, Drew?
Usually the rocker
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah, so everybody knew except for. Oh, yeah. I actually don't have them in the car.
Oh, I have it.
All right, peace, dude.
Yeah.
So Donnie's out of here.
Are you're in Jordan?
I'm going to Jordan's.
Okay.
Yep. Taylor, thanks for filming.
No problem.
I'm done. You can stop it.